Do you actually have to be on cocaine to be on this podcast?
It's a great day to be a Wildcat!
Cocaine.
Durfing.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to yet another edition of Cocaine Willie, the official K-State representative on the College Huddle. I am your commissioner, Bob Trollsby, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, the good chef, Andre Napier, and Fireball Matt Marchesini. Tonight, it's week 3. We're going into our week 3 locks and fantasy picks for the Big 12 fantasy league that we're doing between the three of us. But first, before we dive in to the episode, we want to give a shout out to our two sponsors, Annie Mae's Parlor and Pat's Beef Jerky. Starting us off, Annie Mae's Parlor. This show is brought to you by the greatest bar in Aggieville, Annie Mae's Parlor, located at 616 North 12th Street in the heart of Aggieville. That beer crack right there, sponsored by Annie Mae's Parlor. They've been in business for 50 years and is an absolute must-visit destination on school nights and game days alike. Annie Mae's is far and away my favorite destination in Aggieville and should be yours too. I always make a point to go visit my auntie every time I come back to the Little Apple. They feature a wide variety of craft cocktails, draft beers, and everything in between, along with entertainment like live music, comedy, and all sorts of other events every single week. Check out their website, www.antimaze.com, to get a list of their upcoming events. And that's it. Yeah, that's it. That's just go get a list of their upcoming events and be sure to tell them Cocaine Willie sent you. This show is also brought to you by Pat's Beef Jerky, located at 401 Main Street in Liebenthal, Kansas, right in the heart of Kansas, the greatest state in the Union. Pat's Beef Jerky has been serving up the finest beef jerky in the Midwest for 34 years strong, and they feature mouthwatering flavors like the savory beef pepper sticks, my personal favorite, the classic beef jerky, and Fireball Matt's personal favorite, the teriyaki beef jerky. So there are 3 places where you can get your Pat's Beef Jerky. You can pick it up in person at either the Fridge Liquor Store in Manhattan or at their original store at 401 Main Street in Liebenthal, Kansas. Last but not least, you can get your Pat's Beef Jerky online at www.patsbeefjerky.com. And if you use the promo code CATS at checkout, you will receive 10% off of your next order. So use the promo code CATS at checkout and visit www.patsbeefjerky.com today to place your next order. Boys. Locks.
Boys, what's going on, baby?
So I don't think we've ever had this happen before, but we tied in locks this week.
No bag boy?
I don't
No,
think.
no. I think it reverts to who lost the first week.
No, because it's a week, on a weekly basis.
I think nobody's bag boy.
Nobody's bag boy.
That's going to hurt the thumbnail. I'm not going to lie. It's going to hurt the thumbnail. But I think we all were so close on some of those picks. We were so close to being, either real good winners or even worse losers. I was on the verge there of maybe going 0-5. But man, it's another week, another possibility for Matt to be a bag boy like he's supposed to be. And we can get into this thing if we want.
You know what? Fuck Cincinnati and
fuck UC.
Northwestern. Like, what are we doing?
Was that the Duke game?
Yeah.
That was the Duke game.
Ugh.
What?
Yep.
I don't understand.
Stinky.
Northwestern. It was that stupid rabbit or whatever the hell.
It was the rabbit. The Rally Rabbit was
the Rally Rabbit.
Let's go. Fascinating game. And Malik Murphy looks way worse at Duke than he did at Texas last year.
I don't know. He looked pretty bad versus us outside of like 2 throws.
I think if you threw Jake Rubley on Texas last year,
he'd probably be serviceable.
He would have been very good. Look at Xavier Worthy. AD Mitchell.
It's true. All right, let's recap week 2. So all 3 of us went 2-3 last week. I'll just kick it off with mine. So I missed on Cincinnati versus Pitt, missed on Utah versus Baylor, -14.5, hit on UCF minus 21.5 versus Sam Houston State, hit on Texas minus 7.5 at Michigan, and missed in El Assico, where I took the Hawkeyes. Just happened to lose. Such a bummer. Very, very disappointing. Chef went 2-3 on the week with a miss in the BYU versus he took SMU minus 10.5.
Never
Took
doing that again.
KU minus 5 against Illinois.
God.
Hit on Houston plus 30 versus Oklahoma. In the national game, he hit on Georgia Tech versus Syracuse, took Syracuse plus 3 in that matchup, and then missed on Air Force minus 6.5 against San Jose State.
What happened to the Falcons?
Could have told you that.
What happened to the Falcons?
I could have told you that.
You could not have. You're not a sicko.
I don't know. And Matt, the sicko of the group, went 2-3 as well, and hit on Illinois plus 5 versus KU. Hit on Wazoo minus 2 versus Texas Tech, which that was a wild
Easy.
wild situation.
I should have bet my entire mortgage on that game.
Oh my God.
Missed on Cincinnati minus 1.5 versus Pitt, as he previously alluded to. Missed on NC State plus 8 versus Tennessee, who got shellacked in that one.
Jesus, what were you thinking with
NC
that
State. Oh my God. They suck.
And missed on Northwestern minus 2 versus Duke.
Embarrassing.
one? Man, oh man.
Who wants to kick us off?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Big 12. You know, we were just talking about how we freaking hate University of Cincinnati, but there's no way they can't rebound from this versus Miami of Ohio. They have to. Look at the line on this. Minus 2.5 on the road at Miami of Ohio. That's what the line is versus an 0-1 Miami team. You got to be kidding me. This is bait, but I'm falling for the bait. Give me University of Cincinnati minus 2.5. That's crazy. You are a Power 4 program. Stop it.
Chef's the dog on the treadmill with the Twinkie.
Yes, it's right there within reach, and I might get it this time. Okay, and then I'm going to fall for another piece of bait. You hated Tech last week. I'm taking Tech this week.
Oh, my God.
Versus North Texas. What are we doing? You got to be able to beat them by 2 scores. Give me Tech minus 9.5. Joey's going to figure it out. Right? Okay. Now, even worse, Colorado minus 7.5 versus their in-state bitter rival, Shador. It's Shador season, baby.
Isn't it at Colorado State?
It is in Fort Collins.
Yes. With the bezel on. He's going to have the bezel on. He's going to be throwing dimes at Travis Hunter. Give me Colorado. You guys are thinking too short-minded right now. You're not really thinking. These are the locks. National game. Another team that's looked real bad. Oregon. Can you rebound versus this is the earliest I think they've ever played this game because now they're not conference mates. Week 3, the Civil War game. Give me Oregon minus 16.5 versus Oregon State on the road. Man, oh man, I might go 0-5. I don't know. But then we got a game that is close to my heart. Tidewater Classic. Virginia Tech versus Old Dominion. Give me Virginia Tech minus those points. It's minus 14, so there's a possibility of a push here. I'm just saying, that's where the line's at. I mean, if you want to give me 13.5, I don't know. I mean, where the line started, the line's at 14 right now on ESPN Bet. So it's up to you guys.
You can have 14.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't
Matt,
care what you want. You give us a number because it's not going to hit no matter what. So.
Oh my God. Here we go.
All right. Obviously got a rebound, 2-3 being tied with these plebes is just not a good look. So first one, UCF on the road at TCU. I'm taking the 2-point underdog UCF Knights. This is the game which KJ Jefferson is going to tell me if he's the real deal. The real deal. Should be a raucous environment at Carter Stadium, but I'm taking UCF. Houston Cougars hosting a complex carbohydrate. Am I right? I think it is. I think rice is a complex carbohydrate.
Absolutely.
Right?
You pair that with a bean, and then you've got a full protein, baby.
Oh, baby.
Come on.
I'm taking Houston. They're 4.5-point favorites against Rice at home in a shootout in Houston. Should be
You don't
fun.
lose the food. You don't lose the
to
food.
food. You don't lose to food. And then this one is difficult for me, kinda, because BYU scored 15 points last week on the road. But they are going to a Wyoming team that is 0-2.
Hold on, didn't they score 18?
Whatever. They scored 6 field goals, 6 field goals, one of the two. Anyway, I am taking BYU as 10-point favorites on the road at Wyoming. Wyoming's 0-2. Wyoming's 0-2.
That makes BYU 3-0, and we're going to Provo. Just to let you know.
Correct.
Yeah. For a night game.
Correct.
Night game. Will there even be 10 points scored in that game? Let's be honest.
You know, I was going to say about the Iowa State game, and that was a offensive shootout.
Didn't it barely hit the over? Wasn't it 19-17 for a final? I think the over-under was 35.5.
I thought that it went down.
No, it was 20-19.
Yeah, it was 20.
Okay, yeah.
They hit the over.
Okay. Yeah,
it was 20-19. They hit a late field goal.
Yeah, hit by 4 points then.
All right. National game of the week, game day, is at South Carolina for South Carolina LSU. South Carolina is a 7-point dog at home.
This is a great pick, dude.
I mean,
I love this pick.
I got to take the home field advantage on this one. It's going to be a close game no matter what. You know, South
Carolina has the best football player I've seen the best freshman football player I've seen in a long time on defensive line.
Really?
Oh my God. They've got a freak of nature. I'm going to look his name up, but look up his highlights through 2 weeks. He's better than Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
This dude is insane. I'm going to look it up.
They kicked Kentucky's ass on the road this past week, which may not say much about Kentucky, but have a good feeling about South Carolina. And then my sicko game of the week. This is week 3, and I have already put this team in the sicko game twice. Buffalo 4-point favorite versus the University of Massachusetts, taking Buffalo at home. The Buffalo Bulls. Not the Bills.
No,
the
Bulls.
Not the Bulls.
UMass.
Not the Bills.
Bulls. UMass. The fact that you've taken UMass twice in a 3-week period of time is
sickening. It's sickening.
It is pretty disgusting. And there may be some debate about my sicko game, but I'm going to start off with the Big 12. I'm going West Virginia -3.5 against a stinky Pittsburgh Panthers team that got absolutely demolished by Cincinnati last week. Wasn't even remotely
They won.
close. What?
Pitt won.
I thought Cincinnati beat Pitt.
No.
They did.
Oh my God.
Why biggest
would you say we lost. Why would you say we lost last week if Cincinnati won?
Cincinnati didn't win.
Cincinnati didn't win.
I know.
Oh, well, I'm taking West Virginia. I don't care. West Virginia -3.5 against Pitt.
Well, I'm confused. What's happening?
Cincinnati gave up a 22-point lead.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I didn't watch that game because it sucked because it's stinky. I don't care. West Virginia -3.5 at Pitt. Lock it in. It's happening. Colorado State +7.5 versus Colorado. I am taking the Colorado State Rams against Shador. I'm doing my best Dylan Raiola impersonation right now. I've got the Mahomes shades on. I've got the backwards hat. I got the bling. No, the CSU team's going to be doing that all week next week, showing off the bezel.
The Bezzy.
Go Rams. Go Rams. CU sucks. UCF plus 1.5 at TCU. I'm going with the same thing that Matt did, but I got it at plus 1.5. So I'm feeling even more intrigued by that, I guess. I don't know. It was 1/2. 1/2 is sometimes, I don't know. Interesting. National game of the week. I'm going with the Apple Cup. I'm taking Wazoo plus 5.5 at UW. I think they looked very impressive last week against Tech. That is a game that I watched, unlike the Cincinnati game. And I just don't know what Washington looks like. Haven't watched a game yet. So
I haven't seen them either.
I'm going Wazoo. Go with what you know, right? Sicko game. Again, maybe some debate on this being a sicko game.
I'll let you have
Here's my thought process. I think OU is a stinky garbage trash fuck team this year, and they almost lost to Houston. They almost lost to Houston last week in Norman. So you can't tell me that Tulane isn't going to cover 14.5 points on the road in Norman.
I mean, you're a sicko for watching the team that almost beat us. So I will give you the sicko game. But 14.5, I don't know.
I had to pick this game.
I agree.
I had to pick this game, so I went with it. All right, that's locks. That's locks. Alrighty here. Let's see. All right, and with that, we're gonna get into our week 2 fantasy starters. Let's go through our results from last week, though. From week 2, Chef takes the cake with 91.42 points. Your leading point getter was RJ Harvey of UCF with 36.6 points on the board. And your Colorado Buffaloes, who you subbed in for the week and will not be subbing in again, put up a whopping 3 points. So that says a lot more about us than it does about you.
They're so bad. God, Colorado is so bad. But I honestly didn't add up what Oklahoma State would have done, and I don't know how much better it would have been because they gave up
it would have been a whole
crap ton of points up to freaking Arkansas. It should have been way worse. They gave up like 600 total yards.
Yeah.
Golly, Matt, that I was really smart in bullying you into that.
Well, I mean, I just took it as a challenge more than anything.
You were also very smart for starting Garrett Green because he was your leading point getter on the day with 34.24 points.
I'm sad for my Albany Great Danes.
Yeah, but you finished with 86.54 on the week, and I finished in last with a very nice 69.06 points, coming off of a victory, or not a victory, coming off of a loss by only 0.06.
Shout out to Drake Dabney for Matt with a big old goose egg.
All right, I'm making a rule that tight ends, we can play any tight end. I can draft anybody in the tight end pool because
you can drop Drake Dabney right now if you want.
Are we saying he can drop? He can't just drop. No, he's stuck with what he got.
Yeah, that's true.
Tight end.
Unless he's injured, we said.
Jeff, bully me into another tight end, please. Just bully me right now.
Well, I might have to do some research because Drake Dabney didn't record a catch. I don't even know if he was out there. Is he hurt?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. He might be hurt.
Google it. Give it a goog.
I don't know. Give it a goog. I don't think
next week. I'm
hurt.
Too lazy.
I don't.
Or do we want to start with my? Do we want?
Jeff,
I'm the champ. I'm the champ.
You're the champ. You're 2 weeks running. You're 2-0, and Matt and I are 0-2.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll ever catch me because this lineup I got right now is looking very nice. Shador Sanders getting his first start for the Chef Cookums, and
is he even playing? Is he even going to play this weekend? He walked off the field with 2 minutes left in the Nebraska game.
What a buster! What a leader! But it's a boomer bust for me because if Shador goes down and doesn't look good, that's good for me because I'm a Colorado hater, and that's just how it is. But if he, goes off, which I'm predicting that he will on those Colorado State Rams, it's going to be good for me. Then CJ Donaldson, he's been, a little shaky ever since he got some run versus that Penn State. But I'm going to have faith in him because I don't want to burn up all my RJ Harvey starts right now, and I don't trust Devin Neal on a Friday. So give me CJ Donaldson. Jace Brown and Garrett Oakley for K-State. Let's go. I need it.
This has to be the week, actually.
It has to be. I mean, look at the run that I'm going on right now. Well, last time I played Garrett Oakley, he had 0 points. So that's not a good start, but maybe he rebounds. So I'm going with Jace Brown, Garrett Oakley as my receiver tight end combo. And obviously I'm not playing Colorado anymore. I'm gonna have my Oklahoma State defense up there.
That was a one-time thing for a reason. Matt, who are you starting this week?
First week for AJ2.
It's going with the
Sunshine.
boy.
Going with the boy.
Sunshine.
Because again, if this isn't the week, we have met concern territory. We have reached the plateau of concerning if it's not this week. So
why though? Why do you think
I'm
it's
concerned?
I mean, he's where
It's
did
a
we expect
home-
where
it's a-
did we expect him to be at though?
It's a
Statistically.
home game.
We'll talk in more detail about the Arizona game
Okay.
here in a minute.
You're right. You're right.
Let's
You're
table this for now. Let's
I am
get
right.
into the rest of your starters.
I'm right. Starting Ollie Gordon again.
Oh,
He's playing Tulsa. Just think there's,
He's gonna
he's going to eat in this game.
you're burning up all your Ollie Gordon starts.
I get 4.
I know. I'm just saying you're
Yeah.
burning up.
And I had reached out earlier because I wanted to play Taj Brooks, but he's
You
apparently questionable to play. And I would rather play Taj Brooks, but
Who's your third running back?
You won't let me sub.
Who's your third running back?
The Cincinnati guy. Anyway,
Oh. Versus Miami of Ohio, you're scared of those Red Hawks?
on the road. On the road. Tough
In
game on
Oxford?
the road. It's all good. I'm going Jaden Higgins at wide receiver. Iowa State is hosting Arkansas State this week. Malik Carr at Houston for my tight end because he scored
Somebody's
points last
gotta do it.
week and somebody has to. And Utah. I mean, Utah D.
On
had a great game.
they're on the road at Utah State.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
It's going to be defensive slug or not because Cam Rising broke his hand again.
oh God.
So, yeah, Utah
Bob,
D.
that might lead us into knowing who you're going to be starting at quarterback.
Well, I am not starting Cam Rising at quarterback, much to Matt's chagrin from previous to the pod when we were not recording. I did not realize that Cam Rising had been hurt, and Chef tipped me off. So shout out to Chef for the tip.
Unlike what's the guy that does the NFL breaking news?
You can't even.
You're
compare
not
yourself.
Chef.
You are not him.
I'm Shefty. I thought that was a Shefty bomb.
You are like Adam Schefter, but they spell the last name Schefter wrong and
Oh
copy anything. You're fake.
I'm Adam Scheitster.
Adam Shitster.
I officially hate my quarterback room because KJ Jefferson has looked like shit through 2 games. Jalen Daniels has looked like shit through 2 games. And my only other option is Cam Rising, who's injured right now. So I'm going with Jalen Daniels because between his matchup and KJ's matchup, I was doing some analysis on the old stats machine here. And it looks like KU is playing UNLV.
Oh, that's a tough UNLV
It's
team.
been a tough team, but I feel more confident than I do.
Did he play in the bowl
UCF
game
against TCU?
Did he play in the bowl
No.
game versus UNLV? That was Bean.
No, yeah, it was Bean.
Okay, but at least they're familiar with that defense.
They are familiar.
I think I remember him getting strutted out there for didn't they have some 2 quarterback sets?
Oh Jesus! Was it like a we're throwing
no.
Adrian into the Texas Bowl or not the Texas Bowl? The
Now I'm curious.
the Sugar Bowl situation where we
Yeah.
had some design sets for Adrian.
Look it up.
Just
I'm,
as
I'm looking it up. UNLV.
a consolation prize, if you will.
fudge. UNLV.
I mean, but
49.
you do have.
They did win. No, Jason Bean played.
Yeah, he did.
No, he he did
No
not play.
Daniels.
But my
Sorry,
thought
Daniel.
process with this is TCU's currently they're defense against the pass, they're 17th in the country right now defending the pass.
Pretty good. They literally played Long Island yesterday, or Saturday, so
and that's not even the longest island.
No. 3 Mile Island. Shout out to the 3 Mile.
Oh my God. But yeah, the KU UNLV, I don't know. I'm kind of hamstrung here, so I'm just going to go with Jalen because I feel like it may not be by much, but I think he's got a more favorable matchup there slightly. So I'm also going Cam Scattaboo. I haven't started him yet at all this season. So I'm going through the rotation. I'm going with Cam Scattaboo. Arizona State has been maybe the most surprising team in the Big 12 so far this season.
Some would say.
I've been very impressed with them. They're going on a sneaky, tricky Texas State road trip because they're going to be playing in San Marcos.
I think they're going to lose.
I think they might lose.
I think so too.
I think Texas State's a real deal.
They might lose, and Texas State might be the real deal. But I'm going with Cam Scattaboo. And Shimon Matire for the tight end. So I'm putting all my chips in on Arizona State because if it doesn't pay off, then whatever. I'm already 0-2. So what's 0-3 at this point? And Travis Hunter, I'm going to have starting at wide receiver against the Colorado State Rams. Contrary to my locks pick, I do think CSU is going to win that game, but Travis Hunter seems to do pretty well regardless. So I'm going to go with Travis Hunter and the K-State defense, obviously, because I don't have any other option.
Oh, man, versus Arizona. I love it.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Maybe. Maybe
me.
not.
It didn't look great last week, but still had the best defense of the three of us, even with some of the missed assignments that we put up. So,
well, a lot of sacks. Sacks count a lot. And they had 2 turnovers. So those always help.
The Jack Fabris scoop 6 was pretty nice.
And Chris Tennant does work. It's kind
aside
of
from the missed, 50.
But that's not. That's crazy what Chris Kleiman did to our boy. It's crazy what they did to him. They just sacrificed him out in front of everybody in that 4,000 seat stadium to make him have to kick into the wind from 53 yards. Crazy.
We're not a Chiefs pod, but they did that with Chris Tennant, and then Andy Reid wouldn't let Butker kick a 53-yarder the other night for the Chiefs. So it's
how did K-State get more points than Utah?
That's a question for the math pod guy, Chef, down there in the bottom corner.
Well, Utah had 3 sacks, right?
Okay.
So that's 2 less points. They gave up 13, which from 13 or something like that. I got the tape.
I'm looking at this now, and I'm like, Utah gave up 13 points. They had a blocked field goal for a touchdown,
which
not
counted. That's 6.
Not a math pod.
That's 6.
Okay. How did K-State get 26 and Utah only got 20?
It's I'm telling you, I'm
trying to drill down Bob's score or inflate mine. So
and
I'll get the sheet up. Matter of fact, let me just do it now.
Oh, it's fine.
I can give you my whole thing.
A math pod, not a math pod. I want to get the three of us, the 2 of you. I want to get our final thoughts before the Arizona game. We've talked about it already with Brett from the Wildcat Radio 2.0 podcast, and we got his take on everything in previewing Arizona earlier this week. That one, that episode drops on Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, whenever you're listening to it. This episode is on Thursday, so tomorrow night is the game. Like, we were really coming down to the wire here for a game that I think when we've had this game on the schedule for a while, because it was a non-conference game that was scheduled prior to conference realignment occurring. I've had my eyes on this game for a long time, mostly just because I feel like Arizona is a cool opponent to get to play. And even if they hadn't joined the conference, I would have been stoked for this matchup, the home and home in Tucson and Manhattan. And probably, I might try to go down to Tucson whenever we play down there. But now that they are good, because when this was scheduled, they weren't good. I think Kevin Sumlin might have still been the coach. Now that they're good and they're coming off of, last season they had a 10-plus win season. The season before that, they were I think 6 wins, went to a bowl game, but they were very clearly improved from the team that Jed Fish took over initially. And this is now one of the most highly anticipated matchups in the conference this season. Not just this week, but this season. Everybody's had this game circled across the conference, across the nation. Also knowing that it doesn't count towards Big 12 standings adds an interesting wrench to things as well. But I guess just as we near tomorrow night's matchup, just what are some of your final thoughts and what are you going to be looking for against Arizona?
I'm looking for O-line health. I mean, we're gonna probably get a little bit of coordinators to maybe iron out what we're gonna see from the O-line health. Hadley, Panzer, Carver, Willis, are they going to be participating in this game? Not that their backups are very solid. Pastore and Longang. Longang's probably been the best offensive lineman that we've had this season, in all honesty. But that severely limits our depth. And if we want anything, if we want Avery to be upright, he hasn't been sacked all season. So if we want that to continue and our offense to finally click for 4 quarters, famously, that's what Matt likes. He doesn't like any lull time or anything like that. No warm-up period. He wants it straight. Give it to him right out the gate. So, yeah, you got to have O-linemen to be able to protect them and get Avery going. I'm looking for that because, this is that Arizona defensive line is what was basically gutted the most from the portal. Is that something that we can take advantage of? If we have a healthy O-line, I think we definitely can.
I hate you with a
give it to him
passion.
right out the gate. You don't like any warm-up period, man.
Yeah.
Does anybody?
Anyway.
Does anybody?
Anyway. I think the biggest key for what I'm going to be looking for in this game is what in the past 5 days has the defense done in practice to get better. As we heard in the preview, Arizona's offensive line is one that, has been, I don't know, piecemeal doesn't sound great, but they're trying to find their groove. And on our side, we have to continue to bring pressure to the quarterback and get Noah Fafita uncomfortable in situations to where our defense on the backside can take advantage. I mentioned on Saturday, it was the disappointment of not being able to at least provide a little bit of pressure on Darian Mensah with 4 guys. We have to be able to at least get a quarterback semi-uncomfortable and get an offensive line moving around a little bit with 4 guys or 5 guys and not bringing 7 all the time. I think that's going to be really key. Hopefully the communication issues that we saw on Saturday cease to exist. Probably not, but in a home environment that is going to be raucous. I mean, I'm excited. Like, this is a game I'm excited to walk into that stadium on Friday because I think just as a fan, it's going to be amazing there. I think watching it on TV, potentially on mute for some of you that may or may not like the Fox announcer.
Shout out to Brando.
Shout out to Brando. No free ads. But it's going to be really, truly one of the best environments we've had in a while. I mean, we have a top 20 team coming here, and we're 14th in the country. So I'm stoked. Like, this is going to be awesome.
Chef just came off mute to
allow us to hear him chewing.
I had to chew a little bit. I thought I was going to be done before you finished, but I was mid-swallow when I unmuted myself. So
don't make me say it.
I guess my thoughts on this game is similar to Matt. Noah Fafita is better than Darian Mensah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. And Teteroa McMillan is better than Mario Williams.
Yes.
And
okay, I agree to that.
Those 2 guys Those two guys, we're going to have to level up our ability to defend guys with a tremendous amount of talent, because if we have DBs missing assignments again, if we have a DB playing man when other guys are playing zone or vice versa, they're going to gash the shit out of this defense. And that's not going to be pretty. It's not going to bode well for victory. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on Avery and I'm going to say unproven wide receiver core to have to put up points in a matchup on Friday. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of crowd noise. It's going to be a raucous environment, but we need to see Dante Cephas make a one-handed grab within bounds. We need to see Keegan Johnson make more than 3 catches. We need to see Jace Brown get back to the Jace Brown that we saw late in the season last season. We need to see a guy like Sterling Lockett have the quarterback throw the ball to him and not over him. Those are the things I'm going to be looking for. We need to really tighten things up. But at the same time, I don't want Avery to play. I think there was a really great point made by one of the other K-State podcasts of, I feel like Avery, I think it was Scott on Bosco's Boys, but he compared Avery through these first couple of games to Adrian through the first couple of games 2 years ago, where it felt like we had the leash on Adrian. We were really hammering in, hey, like, don't make any mistakes. Don't do anything wrong. Don't throw any interceptions. And Avery's a young quarterback. He's a very impressionable quarterback. And we talk about his maturity, but we've seen through 2 games, there are situations where it does seem like he's maybe a little tight, playing a little tight, playing with a little bit of a leash maybe. We need to cut him loose and see the Avery Johnson that we saw in the matchup against Texas Tech, in the matchup against NC State, in some of these amazing games that we think back to last year. That Avery still exists. He doesn't just disappear. He's there, and he's got playmakers around him. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. Give the fucking ball to Dylan Edwards, because when he gets the ball, he's electric.
I think,
and he makes shit happen.
I agree with you. I think the important thing out of all this is, like, we want to see all these guys get involved. The important thing is we have to have the plays, like the literal number of plays, meaning we can't be going 3 and out.
Yeah.
You need to have extended drives. Like, we can't expect that, it's going to be 3-play, 75-yard drives. Like, this is a team with the running game, 8, 9, 10-play drives that allow these guys to get on the field to make plays. That's an important thing to think about. I want to see Dylan Edwards get the ball too. Like, I want to see guys having the opportunity to make plays, and some of these wide receivers, and we talk about Garrett Oakley, and seeing a little bit more from him. These guys can't get those opportunities if we're punting the ball and we're doing 3 and outs.
Yep.
And so it's going to come on, from a coaching staff perspective, and Connor Riley, Matt Wells, getting the offense into a groove, and allowing Avery to make some plays, but putting the plays together that allow DJ or Dylan Edwards to get 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry, so you can extend those drives.
And tempo, brother. I mean, we literally haven't seen it, and they talked about it nonstop throughout fall camp about how they wanted to, alter between tempos, turbo package. We heard Coach Kleiman talk about turbo. We haven't seen a lick of turbo.
I think there was like,
you can't do that if you're getting shut down on first down with an obvious run.
There was one drive, I think, during the Tulane game where we
did speed up a little bit.
I think it was the long pass to Keegan, and we then they went straight down it, and
the one efficient offensive scoring drive all game
was a quick 4 or 5 play drive. So that's we are all clamoring because we want to see more players, and the key thing is just extending drives and getting in situations that allow these guys to get the ball in their hands.
I got a question for you guys, just real quick. Just the psychology of being a fan. Okay, we all, we give score predictions, and we do, silly things like we're breaking down games like we know what we're talking about. Okay, Matt, your score for Tulane last week, what was it? It was a 1-point game, wasn't it?
21-20.
Wasn't it 21-20? No, this is no shot at you, Matt, because you know I love you and you know ball and and you're actually probably one of the most reasonable fans that I've ever met. When you put a score prediction like a 1-point game on a game, and then you win by 7, but you still have questions like, oh, is our team like any good? Like you expected the game to be tight, but yet the game is tight, and now it's like, oh, we suck. Like I've heard that from not just you, but like even myself, a million people that put themselves on the internet will say, oh, this is going to be a tight game. It's going to be a close game. And, it should be a battle. But then when it's a battle, you're like, oh, our team sucks. Like, where does this come from? And like, can you break that down for me? Like, I honestly don't get it.
No, it's fine. I love the shot. It's
not a shot because I did the same thing.
I'm kidding. I picked 21-20 because I thought it was going to be more of a defensive battle. And I feel like I can be disappointed. I thought it was going to be a close game, which obviously it was. The defense, it wasn't a defensive showing, obviously. And so
they had their times, though. I mean, the second half, they gave up 7 points.
Sure. No, I know. Like, it's just the way, like, when you're watching it.
Yep.
It's because I think as fans, ultimately, we set high expectations for our team no matter what, even if we suck, right? Like, I mean, truly, like, and when I was in school and 2008, Ron Prince, whatever, like, yo, we got Josh Freeman, we're gonna be good, and then we lose 63-10 at homecoming. It's stuff like that. There's so many expectations with this team, and whether it's fair or not is not up to me. And I had feelings about the Tulane game that it was going to be close. The way that the offense looked the other day, or in the first game, plus road environment is going to be tough, like, ultimately. And so I feel like just watching the game, there are things where your expectations were just like, what is going on? This doesn't look good. It just doesn't, as what we've seen in the past, or maybe what we thought. So predictions are predictions, I guess.
Yeah. It's just like a PSA for me, like, because I have to like tell myself this all the time, especially watching defense, because that's like the most like gut-wrenching thing to watch during sports, is whether they're giving up wide open touchdowns for 50 yards or we can't stop them and it's a 9-play drive or a 10-play drive all the way down the field and they score a touchdown. Either way, it's like our team sucks. But in reality, it's just ball.
For me, it comes more down to the Aggieville Alley Cats have said this a couple of times, but being Chiefs fans and watching Mahomes the first few years that he was with the Chiefs kind of ruined football for a lot of people, in that it's hard to see a game that's not a mistake-free game by an offense and think like, oh, our offense is good because they made some mistakes here or there or whatever. It just that in some ways it's kind of ruined football for me. Not in a, like, I still love football, don't get me wrong. I love nothing more than getting up on a Saturday and cracking open a beer at 10, 11 a.m. watching a game, and just sitting there and watching through Big 12 after dark. But when you see mistakes made, and when you see a game like Saturday where there were some glaring flaws that are different from the team that you've seen in the past, that's where it's a little harder to stomach. Like, I know that this DB group can be better because they've always been better, with the exception of maybe one or two other games that over the past 2 years. I know that Avery Johnson and the offense can be better. I know that the offensive play calling can be better because we've seen all of those things be better. And I think for me, it's more so being able to put all of that together on both sides of the ball, with the play calling, with the coaching, and just dominating a team. is I think what I want to have happen, but that's an
Exactly.
unrealistic expectation to have happen, to your point. So it has kind of ruined football for me in a way, because I've seen so many games from the Chiefs where it's like, Jesus, it's just they play this dominating game of football on both sides of the ball, and it's like, well, that's
I mean,
okay.
I'll say this too, and I think about the library in our brains of K-State football. Like
Yeah.
seriously, from different coaching staffs to the different personnel on the field, like we picture like we see a play, and maybe this is just me, but I see a play run and I'm like, I've seen this before from some other year, and the defense for me in this past game reminded me so much of like some of the Tom Hayes defenses that we were rolling out there,
Yes.
where your defensive backs are like getting cooked, like
Against some air raid offense.
and and that was that was what I was getting all. And then I was getting Courtney Messingham vibes the first half of this game, just with some of the play calling. And and so for me, like that was why I felt disappointed, because I have like these flashbacks of these teams and the teams that I'm talking about weren't necessarily great in those areas. But then it comes full circle, and then you kind of calm down and you're like, okay, it was week 2. We went on the road. You won the game, all of this. So,
It's just weird. I mean, that's just how I think about it. Like, I'm like listening to podcasts and like reflecting on the game, and it's like, dude, what did we expect him to do? Like on the road versus, a decent team, and they came out. They had a really stinker of a first half, and then they locked in and they scored 20 points in the right, 20 offensive points in the second half, and they gave up 7. I think that was the differential. No,
24
in the second half. Did they only score 17 in the half because they scored a defensive touchdown?
They scored 17 offensive points in the half.
Okay. And like, I don't know. I'm trying not to be hard on these kids at the same time, like expectations, but like, golly, what do fans want? What do we want? And I'm going to start asking other people this around the internets. Like, what do we expect and what do we want? Because we get tight games, we expect tight games, and then when we get tight games, our team sucks.
I'm going to just go back a little bit to, let's see, Saturday.
Yeah. Are you looking at my text?
11 a.m. Play calling is shit.
You can't do that. That's against pro code.
I know, just one.
No, it's fine because
but there's some
I'm in this group. I'm in this group. I'm in the overreaction group, and my wife left, and then we started to win, and I'm like to myself, I'm sitting in my couch by myself, nobody's around, and I'm like, dude, I am weird. Why am I doing this? I knew this game was going to be like this, and I'm still freaking out.
I'm just,
it's
fun to look back at.
No, it is. It was just weird. Like,
yeah,
we knew we were going to have a tight game, and I still was like, why are we stinkins right now?
One of us thought we weren't going to have a tight game.
That was me.
The one we should be throwing.
That was me. I didn't think it was going to be a tight game, and I wasn't the only one either, because I was the trendsetter of the 31-10 score prediction, because there were other people that gave that. I think DY,
shout out to Derek Young,
online did that, but and I would also contest the notion. I don't think just the nature of having a close game in and of itself means that you played bad. I mean, I think back on that Texas game last year, the K-State Texas game in Austin. That was one of the most fun games I've watched, and that was after a really horrible first half by K-State, where they turned on the Jets in the second half, got it to overtime, and Will Howard missed the read could have run it in for a touchdown. Like that. Again, you come back to some of these tight games. For me, it's more so are you winning the tight games when they are
We
one
did.
possession games?
We
We
did.
did. We did in this case. We didn't last year. We did 2 years ago. So I think this does, in retrospect, now that we're kind of setting up for the rest of the season here in Arizona, the last thing I'm going to say about Tulane, being able to pull out a victory in a 1-score game against a salty team that was surprisingly saltier than I think a lot of folks thought. Not everybody, obviously not the two of you, but a lot of folks thought that this was a
I had it a
regressed.
10-point game.
A lot of folks thought this was a regressed Tulane team from last year, and the line was 7.5 points, or not? Was it 7.5?
It opened 10.5 and dropped all the way down to 8 or 7.5.
And it ended up being a 7-point game. So, but you come out with the victory. It wasn't pretty, certainly, but if you can pull out the victory and win ugly, a win is a win. At the end of the day, Tulane's probably going to get quite a few wins this season when we look back on this.
And now we have to do it versus Arizona.
Hey,
so
now we
let's-
have to do it
let's
versus Arizona.
Hey,
Let's freaking do it.
Hey,
Hey.
on to Arizona.
On to Arizona this tomorrow. We get the dub. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. And with that, we're going to get out of here for tonight. Once again, shout out to our sponsors, Pat's Beef Jerky and Anime's Parlor. In business for 50 years and 34 years, respectively. Remember to visit patsbeefjerky.com and use the promo code CATS for 10% off your next order. Additionally, we are the K-State representative on the College Huddle, which is the largest community of fan-driven content in the nation. Check them out, as well as us and our friends Wildcat Radio 2.0, some of the other folks on the College Huddle that you will be hearing from throughout the rest of the season. Follow the College Huddle at College Huddle and go to thecollegehuddle.com. Last but not least, you can follow our show at Cocaine Willie on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, or follow us individually. I'm at Bob Trollsby. Chef is at Chef Andre Napier. And Fireball Matt is at Matt Marchesini. Chef.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, baby.
We are all Coke and no joke. And Chef is not Adam Schefter, Wildcat Country, Kansas version. Let's ride.
Ride.
Right.